The super wealthy didn't use business plans to create wealth. They actually used specific ancient rituals that have been passed down through the generations to create attractor fields that virtually brought in wealth, power, control, and money into their life. When you do these rituals, you connect with all that is and experience something that defies human comprehension.
So what are the rituals that you were taught in the secret society, the Brotherhood, that were never meant to be made public?
Documentaries are made about secret societies. And they're made by people who know nothing about secret societies. Every time you see a documentary about a secret society, there's like, flames and fire and, human sacrifice or all this weird stuff and people in robes and chant. I have no idea what they're talking about. It's fantasy land. It's Hollywood. I mean, okay, there's a couple small, weird, bizarre groups, maybe some Satanists, but that's not the Brotherhood, that's not Skull and Bones, that's not Bohemian Grove, that's not Bilderberg, that's none of the real stuff. That's the Hollywood BS. So the rituals that we did, that we called rituals, you would say, that's not a ritual, but it's a ritual. Because it's a ritual that produces results, and it's a ritual that's been passed down thousands of years. And I'll give you one of them. There's one ritual that the elites use, that the wealthy use, and they all use. And this is a ritual that some people who have done any investigating or watched any the ritual is called association. Aristotle Onassis, the richest man in the world at the time, back in the 60s, said that if he was flat broke, he would do one thing, and he said, and I learned this in the secret society. He goes, that one thing is I would go to physical locations, whether it was a restaurant or a club or something, where yacht club or something, where wealthy people are. And I would be in the same room with them. Don't have to meet anybody, don't have to talk to anybody. He said I would just be in the same physical space as wealthy people. And he said he learned this ritual from the secret societies when he was a part of them, because being in the same space of wealthy people means you are in the energy field of people who have big, expanded dreams. Many people in Hollywood call it the ability to be creative or imagination. People who have large imaginations. And when we think of somebody who has a huge dream and a big imagination in Hollywood and in history, what names come to mind? Well, we think of Walt Disney. This guy was flat broke and he was dreaming of Disneyland. And he said, I'm gonna create a city. You're gonna create a city? You can't pay your rent. Why are you talking about creating a city? But he had the ability to use his imagination and dream big. If you are in the physical space of people who either A, have lots of money, or B, are big dreamers, which is different than people who live in a dream world. You have to have a dream, but you can't live in a dream world, otherwise you're delusional. So ideally, you're around people that have actually manifested or created large amounts of money. And in doing so, you see somebody who has the ability to dream big. Now, he may not tell you about those dreams, he's probably not, but he has that ability, which means his essence is huge. Now think about this. You've been in a room, it's a party, and somebody walks in the door. Your back is to the door. You don't see the door is to your back. The door opens, somebody comes in, you don't hear the door, but you sense somebody just walked in this room, and you turn around and it's some celebrity or some wealthy person. How did you feel that? Because their essence is so large, they're a big being, that when they walked in the room, their essence permeated the whole room. Everyone kind of felt it. So if you are in a room, whether it's this room here, our private clubs or something, and you're with 10 or 12 people that have those type of large essences, you then are being permeated with their creative power, their imaginative power, their power to dream big, their power to be decisive, their power to manifest and create things and make decisions, their confidence, and that energy virtually changes you. So the ritual is to be in the physical space of other winners, you could call it, like-minded people, wealthy people. So we would always get together with our brothers and sisters in the brotherhood. And being in those physical spaces, we didn't have clubhouses with the name on it, Brotherhood Clubhouse. Like Skull and Bones has a building. The Coffin, right? They have the building. Masons have buildings. We had private houses with no name. And we would go and we would be in a room with 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20 people, sometimes 5 people. And sometimes just having a drink, sometimes just talking, sometimes playing checkers, sometimes playing cards, and sometimes just sitting. And I don't know anyone in the room, so I'm sitting by myself, and maybe I talk to somebody, maybe I don't, but it doesn't matter. I'm in a physical space where the energy in that space is so high and so large and so dynamic, it virtually is like me plugging into a power source. And then when I leave, I'm all juiced up. And I got that juice from that power. Interestingly enough, this was called the mastermind in Napoleon Hill's books, and he learned it from Andrew Carnegie, and he learned it from the Brotherhood. The mastermind is your mind, which is yours, my mind, which is mine, but when we come together, we create a third mind. It's a separate entity. It's called the mastermind. If there's 3 people in the room, it's his mind, your mind, my mind, and we come together on a project. We are in harmony. We have the same purpose. We create a separate, connected mind, which means all of our minds are connected and it's a separate entity. It's called the mastermind. This, Napoleon Hill talks about it, was said by both Henry Ford, J.P. Morgan, Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, as the single most powerful thing you can have to create wealth or create anything you want. And that mastermind is only created when you're doing the ritual of being in the physical space of other like-minded people.
But for the average person who doesn't have access to those rooms, those people, that power source, how does that person tap into this mastermind ritual?
That guy finds winners, people that are just like him, that are just starting off, that have big dreams, that want more out of life. And that's who he associates with. Your income is always going to be the average of your 5 best friends. Most people will probably hear this think, I need to get some new friends. Yeah, because they're going to drag you down. When I was a kid and you were a kid, didn't our parents say always the same thing? You hang around that crowd, you're going to turn out just like them. Well, it's true. Well, if it's true in the negative, it's also true in the positive. So if you can't associate with millionaires when you're broke, you can associate with people who have dreams of becoming a millionaire, or dreams of becoming more successful, or dreams of getting more out of life. And there are plenty of people you can find that you can team up with. And this happens all the time. So the real ritual here, again, we had the advantage in the Brotherhood. We hung around with our brothers and sisters in the Brotherhood. Okay. But what does the average person do? The average person says, I have to be very selective with who I spend time with, who I choose to be my friend, who I choose to associate with. Associations is one of the most critical things you can do if you want to become successful or achieve anything in life. Choose your friends wisely and find groups. See, when you're in those groups, not only are you getting the energy permeated, but there is a synergistic effect because you support one another and you pull for one another. And here's how it works. If you take a horse and the horse is pulling a cart, it can only pull so much weight. But if you put another horse and they start pulling the cart, it doesn't pull twice as much weight. It pulls 3 times as much weight because there's a synergistic effect. And when you get 3 horses, it doesn't pull 3 times weight as one horse. It does 5 or 6 times weight. It starts geometrically going up. So when you're associating with people, and let's say you're all broke, there's 2 or 3 or 4 of you, you're all broke, you're all starting off, but you all have goals, dreams, and desires. Boom. Now you support one another, you pull for one another, and your energy, your power is magnified, it's intensified, and it goes up geometrically. So that's the critical thing you do. Remember this phrase, all boats go up on a rising tide. So when you create that energy, with the energy is going up, everybody who's in that pool or in that bay, they're all going to rise as well.
So let's talk about the third ritual that you were trained in this secret society.
You'll never see this ritual in a Hollywood movie because it's too boring. But it's also one of the powerful, these rituals are powerful, they create results. You've seen it in some movies. Here's what the ritual is. The ritual is bathing in some object of beauty. So J. Paul Getty, for example, what did he collect? He collected art with the aesthetic of beauty. And he was known to walk and look at a painting in his home and bathe in that aesthetic of beauty. Other people collect cars. To them, it has the aesthetic of beauty. Other people collect XYZ. They have the aesthetic of beauty. Some people like little demi-tasse cups. Some people like china. Some people like this, that, the other thing. Sculpture. Look at William Randolph Hearst, one of the richest men in America at the time. The Hearst Castle, which is the name we call it. It's really San Simeon in California. Citizen Kane, the movie with Orson Welles, was technically about William Randolph Hearst. But if you've been to San Simeon, which I have several times, he was obsessed with art, sculptures primarily. And he went around the world and had these ancient, priceless sculptures, marble sculptures, all over San Simeon, all this amazing art. So one of the things that wealthy people do is they have in their physical homes something that to them has the aesthetic of beauty. There's 2 reasons for this. Number 1, the aesthetic of beauty has a wave. It is a wave that it connects to us and takes us to a higher level. It actually clears us of negativity. Now, there is science behind this. This is not esoteric. This is science. The elites know this. That's why they have beauty. That's why they have art. Oh, it's an investment. No, it's about the beauty aesthetic that's keeping negativity out of their field. And in doing so, it creates in their physical space a money, love, luck, health, attractor field. What is that? This facility here is a love, luck, money, wealth, attractor field. It's like a bubble. It's a magnet that brings in from the universe waves of energy which come in, turn to particles, and then turn to physical matter. This is what attractor fields do. They bring in love, luck, money, health. They do it because when you have an item in this house, there's this big Baccarat crystal chandelier. It was in a wealthy mansion in Greenwich, Connecticut. Billionaires went into that house. Huge amounts of moneyed people were in that house. Their energy, which I talked about earlier, permeated that house. Crystals absorb energy. This is virtually a magnet for money. So wealthy people always have in their physical possession an item that has the aesthetic of beauty and has energy that's been collected in it over time for either love, luck, money, or health, or spirituality and enlightenment. This is why people collect religious relics. Why do wealthy people have religious relics? Why do they have a Bible or Quran in their house? Or the Mahabharata or the Ramayana? A very old one, old. Because it's been in the hands of monks, enlightened beings. So they want that in their home because it resonates, it has a resonance about it. And it attracts that into their physical space. And if I'm walking by it, that energy is permeating me. I'm being cleansed and I'm turning into a magnet for all these things myself. So the ritual is to have these items in your house for the aesthetic of beauty and so that they create these love, luck, money, and health, or even spiritual awareness attractor fields.
So what does a person do to attain, discover these attractor fields, these items, when they can't afford great works of art or sculptures, etc.?
Correct. Well, they can't afford it now. They can't afford it now, but it doesn't mean they won't ever be able to afford it. So the magic is this. This is a little distinction. There was a TV show called The Blacklist, and it's about the mythical character Raymond Reddington. And in this particular scene, Raymond Reddington, who had billions of dollars, had some top lieutenants turn rogue on him and basically steal all of his money and wipe out all of his accounts, and he was penniless. So he's talking to this guy about buying some art for $3 million. And he goes, well, $3 million. And Raymond says, I'm a little illiquid at the moment. But that was his attitude. It was like, at the moment, I'm a little illiquid. And I laughed because I said, that's what we always did. We would say, well, right now I'm broke. But it was, notice the phrase, right now I'm broke. I'm not fantasizing or delusional of what is, but I also know, but it ain't gonna last long. Right now I don't have any money, but I'm thinking, but I will. I don't say that to you because then you'll give me a counter intention. But that's what the wealthy people do. So here's the point. If somebody thinks, well, I can't afford it, cancel. Say, well, I can't afford that right now. And then have that feeling inside, but I will. It's hard for people to do that. Okay, but here's the other point. Today, it is easier than ever for people to get attractor fields in their house for pennies. It's called the internet. You can go on there and go to any antique store, but there are a zillion antique stores online. You can go to Facebook Marketplace. You can go anywhere. And all you're doing is looking for a trinket. A trinket. Go to an estate sale. Oh, there's a big mansion. Okay, maybe the guy wasn't a billionaire, but maybe he was a multimillionaire, or maybe he was a millionaire. Go to an estate sale and pick up a trinket in that house for $1. It has the same energy as the crystal chandelier because it was in the same house. That's where you start. Good, let me start with this. And know what you have in your hands. So not only do you have to have it, but you also have to have the awareness of what I have in my hands. I have an amulet. I have an heirloom. I have a talisman that has power. Because I know that it does. And therefore, I get the benefit of it. It only turns on when I activate it. And I activate it when I am aware of its power.
In closing, Kevin, what did you learn in the Brotherhood? What can you impart about the essential importance of rituals in general?
One thing we knew in the Brotherhood, that it was important to live your life with deliberate intent. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. And when we would do things, we would do it with deliberate intent, with awareness, and with consciousness. When we had sex, we were aware and conscious. When we looked at a piece of art, we did it with awareness and consciousness. When we did anything, any ritual, when we associated with other people, We did it with awareness and consciousness. And there's many reasons why that's significant, one of which is it puts you in present time. We have today, we have this moment, but most people live yesterday, last week, last month. Most people spend a lot of their time in the past or sometime in the future. The past is where pain is. The future is where fear is, because it's unknown. But there's nothing but bliss in the present moment. So when you do these rituals with deliberate intent, with full awareness and consciousness, you're bringing yourself into perfect present time. And in doing so, you connect with all that is and experience something that defies human comprehension.
What is manifesting? Well, it's the ability to create the exact life you want. It's the ability to draw in and attract anything you desire. But most people don't understand the true energetic science, the actual formula of how to manifest. They're not following a recipe that works, or they're missing key elements of the formula. Therefore, they fail. Your Wish is Your Command changes that. This book reveals the missing keys of manifesting, the ones that actually work. It's the actual step-by-step formula the world's wealthiest elites have used and guarded for decades to unlock true manifestation power. People have called it the success system that never fails. Apply it, and you'll see the results. This is not based on theory. This book comes from thousands of year-old principles, a formula that has passed the test of time and that has proven to work 100% of the time when it's applied. It is the only step-by-step, totally complete manifesting or prosperity or success system in existence. That's the reason why people who read this and apply it are seeing such spectacular results.